Yannick Sinner experienced a tense
It
situation.
looks like in the Qatar Excel model, yeah?
Thank you.
With the absence of Novak Djokovic, do you think you can win the
Sparking debate about
Hopefully.
admiration and
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Thank
what
you.
happened and why this episode has caused so much discussion. The incident took place in a confined and private space, a hotel elevator. Yannick Sinner, one of the most prominent tennis players of the new generation, was simply moving within the building when a follower decided to turn on his camera and start recording him without clear consent. The atmosphere immediately changed. What should have been a brief and quiet ride turned into an uncomfortable moment, marked by persistent questions and invasive proximity that broke any basic barrier of personal respect. From the very first second, it was noticeable on Sinner's face, a serious and restrained expression. There were no smiles or gestures of complicity, only brief glances and minimal responses, as he tried to maintain composure. The Italian tennis player, known for his reserved and professional character, seemed to be looking for a quick exit from the situation. His body language spoke for itself: rigid posture, limited eye contact, and a clear intention not to fuel the interaction more than necessary under the constant pressure of the fan holding the phone very close to him. The follower was not only recording but also asking direct questions, some personal and others related to his sporting career. The issue was not curiosity, but the context. An elevator is a closed space where the possibility of walking away is practically non-existent. That lack of escape intensified the visible discomfort on Sinner's face. The scene reflected a real-time invasion of privacy, something many public figures face when the line between admiration and harassment becomes blurred and potentially harmful to their emotional and personal well-being. In professional sports, players are accustomed to constant attention, but there are moments and places where they expect a minimum level of privacy. A hotel, especially its internal areas, is usually considered a space for rest and disconnection. The episode highlighted how permanent exposure can invade even those private corners. For Sinner, the elevator was not a media stage but part of his daily routine. However, the fan's camera turned that ordinary moment into viral content without prior notice or clear consent from the person involved. The reaction on social media was immediate. Many users defended the tennis player, pointing out that the follower's behavior clearly crossed a line. Others debated the right to record in public spaces, although a hotel elevator is not exactly an open area. The discussion revolved around the limits of fandom and individual responsibility. The video, shared thousands of times, sparked reflection on how technology makes it easy to record any moment, but not always justified to do so without considering the real human impact. Beyond the video, what remained clear was the palpable discomfort of the player. Sinner tried to stay calm and avoid confrontation, showing self-control in a situation that could easily have escalated. That professional attitude contrasted with the follower's insistence. The episode did not show a distant star, but a young person facing an invasive moment without immediate means of escape. That image awakened empathy in many fans who understood that fame does not eliminate the basic right to peace and personal respect. This type of situation opens up a necessary debate about the culture of immediate access to celebrities. Social media has created a sense of constant closeness that can blur real boundaries. Some followers feel that by supporting and admiring an athlete, they are entitled to interact in any context. However, admiration does not equal permanent availability. Sinner's case shows how that perception can turn into direct pressure, especially in closed spaces where the public figure has no immediate room for choice. It is also important to analyze the emotional impact that these moments can generate. Although Sinner maintained composure, the discomfort was evident. Forced exposure can affect a person's sense of security and rest, which are fundamental for a high-performance athlete. Hotels represent places of physical and mental recovery during demanding tournaments. Interrupting that tranquility with invasive recordings disrupts that balance. It is not just about a viral video, but about how small individual actions can influence the psychological well-being of those who live under constant public scrutiny. The episode invites reflection on the difference between a casual encounter and persistent harassment. A respectful greeting or a polite request for a photo at an appropriate moment is very different from recording someone without permission in a confined space. Insistence, physical proximity, and verbal pressure transform the interaction. In the elevator, Sinner had no real option to withdraw or comfortably refuse. That lack of choice makes the scene more serious than a simple awkward anecdote shared online. The viral spread of the video also shows how controversial content expands rapidly. Each view amplifies the moment and turns it into a global topic. Paradoxically, the player's discomfort becomes entertainment for some users. This dynamic raises an ethical question about digital consumption. Is anything acceptable for the sake of views? The case demonstrates that behind every clip there is a real person living a concrete experience, not just a fragment designed to generate clicks and comments on constantly active social platforms. For Sinner, this episode will likely be just another moment in a career that continues to grow. However, it leaves a clear lesson for fans and content creators. Passion for sport should not erase basic respect for privacy. Admiration implies recognizing boundaries and understanding context. The elevator was not a press conference or a mixed zone. It was a private space where insistence broke an invisible but fundamental barrier in any relationship between a public figure and a follower. Ultimately, what happened serves as a reminder that fame does not eliminate the human condition. Jannik Sinner is an elite athlete, but he is also a young man who needs moments of calm. The discomfort experienced in that elevator reflects a reality many athletes face in silence. Respect and empathy should always accompany enthusiasm. Only then can the bond between fans and players remain healthy, balanced, and based on genuine admiration rather than constant invasion of personal space. The incident in the elevator clearly showed a situation of discomfort that opened a debate about the limits of fandom. Sinner reacted calmly, but his expression made it clear that the moment was far from pleasant. Beyond the viral video, the case invites reflection on respect and the privacy of athletes. Admiration should be built on empathy, not pressure. Unexpected message from Carlos Alcaraz in Doha for Jannik Sinner. The Spanish tennis player is eager to face the world number 2 again in another final and points out that these matches are the ones people want to see. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner are once again competing in the same tournament, where they could potentially meet one more time. Both players are taking part in the ATP 500 in Doha, and although they have not yet played their opening matches, there is already speculation about a hypothetical final between the two. In recent years, they have faced each other in Grand Slam finals and major ATP tournaments, so meeting again would be incredible, as Alcaraz confessed in an interview with Sky Sports. It would be incredible, right? I think these are the matches and the finals that people want to see. If I can win and get through all the rounds, then we'll see who reaches the final, said the Spanish tennis star. For now, both Carlos and Jannik must win their first round matches against Thomas Macaque and Arthur Rinderknecht, respectively. Because of their positions in the rankings, they would not meet until the final of the ATP 500 in Doha. If Alcaraz wins the tournament, he would increase his lead over the Italian in the ATP rankings, which already exceeds 4,000 points. However, if Sinner is crowned champion in Qatar, he would cut that gap by 500 points. Carlos Alcaraz has an extra day of preparation at the ATP 500 in Doha, where he reached the quarterfinals in his debut appearance last season. He returns to Qatar strengthened by his first victory at the Australian Open. On Sunday, February 1st, he became the youngest tennis player to win all 4 men's Grand Slam titles at just 22 years old. He reappears this Tuesday in his second official event of the campaign. He faces the round of 32 in Doha against Frenchman Arthur Rinderknecht. His main rival for the title, Italy's Jannik Sinner, begins his campaign on Monday against Czech player Thomas Macaque. The Murcia native arrives at the tournament with his Melbourne homework done. His primary goal for 2026 has already been achieved. In Doha, we have set some objectives, but we are not talking about results. I think more match by match. We'll see later how far I can go. I don't want to project myself too early into the final, he said during the tournament's official press conference. His obsession is to keep improving his tennis. He neither relaxes nor feels satisfied with his 7 Grand Slam titles. I can't allow myself to lower my level, I have to keep taking steps forward.